Hello, I'm Austin here along with Scott. Tonight is a special night as we will be discussing many issues that we have here in the Middle East.
To kick off the show, we will be discussing the main conflict between the Jews and the Muslims. As you probably know, there are many problems between them. The main problem is that the Muslims believe they should have full ownership of Israel. I personally believe that the Jews don't deserve to be bothered.
Oh, really, Scott? I believe that the Muslims have every right to be fighting for what is rightfully theirs.
Well, I guess we're all entitled to our own opinion, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
But this truly isn't an issue to be taken lightly. They have had problems with each other all the way since the 1800s. We could tell you more, but I think you'll learn everything about this conflict from our... Hello, Abdallah. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, Scott.
So how long have you been aware of this conflict between the extremist Muslims and the Jews?
Well, I've been aware of this conflict ever since I was about 2 years old.
Can you please explain it to us?
Well, to understand it, first you need to understand the background.
Please give us the background.
Well, thousands of years ago, the Zionists founded the idea that the Jewish homeland is Israel. And the Jews occupied this land 4,000 years ago and for thousands of years on. But then the Muslims took it over in several other areas and made it into Palestine. But after World War II, the United Nations gave part of Palestine back to the Jews and they made it Israel again. And this angered the Muslims because they believe that every land that they have ownership of at one point should be theirs forever.
Please give us your opinion on what you think about this.
I believe that the Jews deserve this land because they occupied it before the Muslim faith was even born.
I also think that too. Well, it's good to meet you, Abdallah. We have more coming up.
Nice to meet you, Lama.
Nice to meet you too, Austin.
So I understand that you are a friend of Muhammad. How did Muhammad become the founder of Islam?
Well, Muhammad met Gabriel, the angel, who told him to spread the word of Allah.
So he told him to spread the word of Allah. Who or what is Allah?
To Muslims, Allah is their God or who they worship.
How did Muhammad meet Gabriel?
Gabriel is a medium through whom God revealed the Quran to Muhammad. And he sent messages to most of the prophets telling them their obligations.
Why did Gabriel choose Muhammad as a prophet?
Gabriel chose Muhammad because Muhammad was the last prophet.
Very interesting. Well, it's nice meeting with you.
Nice meeting you too, Austin.
I hope to see you again.
You too.
Joining us now is Benjamin to tell us a little bit about the 6-Day War. How are you, Benjamin?
Good, how about you?
I'm doing very good. So tell us a little bit about the 6-Day War.
Sure. It all started when the Arabs wanted to show their hostility to Israel. That was called the Independence War. The Israelis beat the Arabs badly. So the Arabs wanted to reclaim a victory they thought they should have had. And that's the start of the 6-Day War.
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. The countries who were in the 6-Day War was Israel, who was versing Syria, Egypt, and Jordan, who all teamed up against Israel.
So, Israel lost because they were triple teamed?
You'll find that out later. On the first day of war, Syria launched an air attack on Israel. Israel crippled the Syrians' air force. But Syria didn't give up. Hostilities kept on coming into Israel until the 5th day of war when Israel drove them back. Now here's the Egyptian strategy. The Egyptians blocked the border between Egypt and Israel, and the southern parts of Israel. Even though they were outnumbered, Israel managed to drive the Egypt back into Egypt, so Israel kept their land. Now that was all of Egypt's attack. Here's the attack on Jordan. Jordan got false news that Egypt had succeeded. So the Jordans launched an attack, an all-air attack. But the Israelis managed to stop them, and no one got into Israel, and that was the whole 6-Day War.
Well, thank you for meeting with us. We'll have another interview after this.
Joining me here now is Emily to tell us about the motivations of terrorists. How are you, Emily?
I'm doing good. How are you, Scott?
Good. So, what are the basic motivations of a Middle Eastern terrorist?
Well, to understand their motivations, first you need to understand that the only real way to understand their motivations is to ask the terrorists themselves. And you also need to understand that there are different types of motivations, such as religious and political ones. And after you understand this, I can tell you some of the most popular motivations. One of the most popular motivations is that the terrorists want to spread fear throughout the world. Another one is that they want to kill people of another religion. But the most general motivation is that the terrorists want change.
That's interesting. So the terrorists want to change our lives.
Yes, they want to change our lives. And they also want to send us the message that they can get us anywhere, at any time, for any reason, anyway.
That was interesting. Well, that was Emily telling us about the motivations of the terrorists. Thank you for joining us on our interview special. Now we're going back to the newsroom.
Today, we learned that the Muslims and Jews fight because the Muslims believe they should have ownership of Israel.
We also learned that Muhammad became the founder of Islam because he was touched by an angel and decided to spread the word of Allah.
Also, we learned that Israel took down Egypt, Syria, and Jordan all by themselves in the 6-Day War.
And finally, we learned that all Middle Eastern terrorists are motivated by some type of change for the most part.
We learned all this information from Abdallah, Lama, Ben, and Emily coming in here to be interviewed by us.
Now over to TJ to show us a map of the major.
I'm TJ. I'm here to show you the Middle East map. Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Israel is where the 6-Day War happened in this area. And Israel is where the Israeli and Arab conflicts are happening. Georgia, Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq, Yemen, Eritrea, and Djibouti is where the war on terror with the U.S. and Arabs are happening right now. And this is the Middle East, most of the Middle East conflicts. Now back to Scott and Austin.
Thank you, TJ. That was very interesting. Thank you for joining us here on Middle Eastern Talkshow.
We hope that you've learned a lot and that we've increased your knowledge on the Middle East. We
Hope to see you next time.